The following podcast contains some strong language and some very average opinions. Any references to actual people are wildly inaccurate. It's probably best if you don't listen at all. The Roaring Peacock Podcast. Welcome back to the Roaring Peacock Podcast. This is the match review for Chelsea 3, Leeds United 1. And we have to crawl back up north with our tail between our legs, don't we, a little bit? So my name's Adonis. You know me as @theadelites on Twitter. And joining us on this sad cast, I guess you could say, is Mr. Stuart Barnett, but you know him as Barney. Barney ___ 21.
Hello.
And Mr. Michael Cook, or you know him as Cookie, or @Mickled Onions.
Hello.
So come on then, let's have it. Barney thinks Click's done a great job. Cookie is about to bust a vein.
I think it's hard to be harsh on Click because he's so good, he's so consistent. There's a reason Bielsa said that he could play for any of the top sides, but I don't think it was his fault necessarily because, like you were saying, none of the triangles were happening, but he just seemed like he drifted through the game in the second half. The first half he was decent, but second half I just don't feel like he contributed a lot. But all of the creativity falls onto him when we don't play a 10, and we didn't have a 10, so it's all on Click.
So the triangles you're referring to is because obviously the audience aren't in our group chat.
No, of course.
Is that, especially in the second half, Chelsea kind of backed off a bit and were playing like a medium block. They weren't playing like a low block like Burnley would do. They weren't playing a high press like Liverpool do. They were playing this kind of medium block and they were just sitting in their own half. And what happened was our centre-backs would get to the halfway line and nobody was kind of dropping back to collect the ball and play those lovely triangles up the pitch. So basically, essentially, the transition from defence to attack wasn't there. But let's maybe because otherwise, you know, I'm going to be crying listening back to this, trying to edit it. So there must be some positives. I mean, the first few moments of the game, Chelsea had a lot of attacks, and then all of a sudden, Phillips gets the ball, kind of 1-2 touches, then plays it with his left foot, slide rule pass to Bamford. Brilliant goal, brilliant start, brilliant pass from Phillips. I know that you like talking about Phillips, Barney.
Well, I've got my tissues ready at the moment anyway, so... Yeah, I mean, that wasn't the Phillips that we're used to, is it, as well? Because I never knew that Phillips had a left foot for a start, because he's always right-footed, and also the fact that he was on the right-hand wing to actually pass that to Bamford, but also the Bamford's control and just actually understanding where he could score as well. But it was quite interesting as well when he scored. He didn't celebrate.
He did.
Did you notice that?
He did. So he did one of those. He did one of those cunt things that he does.
And then also,
he spelled out cunt in sign language or whatever he does.
He did that, and then he just like right, fine, I've scored, let's carry on, kind of thing, and didn't like go mental or anything. So
I think a big part of that though, Barney, is he probably knew exactly like we expected was that Chelsea would have a lot of chances. They've got a lot of world-class players. There's no point doing a big celebration 1-0 up after, 3 minutes, because as we all expected, Chelsea were going to come back into it. So I think it's more that than any loyalty to Chelsea, because I think we can all tell from all the things he said, he feels a bit burnt by Chelsea, lack of trust from Chelsea and all the teams he got sent to by Chelsea. So I don't think it was loyalty to them anyway.
He did say before the game in the interview that what did he say?
He said that
he didn't have anything bad to say about. He didn't have a bad word to say about Chelsea. That's what he said.
Because they paid him a lot of fucking money to do fuck all.
But also as well, there's two things to it as well. Is that also the Chelsea youth system, and also the fact that there's players like Bamford who actually want to go to a football club and want to play football and actually improve themselves. but Chelsea used this from just sending random players out to different teams. But Bamford actually said that it's the first manager, Bielsa, he's worked under, that actually trusts him and what he can do as an individual player and improve on it as well. Because, I mean, look at the Chelsea. I mean, we're going on a different tangent here, but if you're looking at Chelsea's youth system, they're just sending players out to different clubs to not actually what benefit is that going to be to the player and also the club when they come back as well.
Did you listen to the match preview?
No.
Clearly,
Sorry.
We may have covered that.
I tell you one thing though, he'll definitely be celebrating if he scores against Burnley because he don't like Sean fucking Dyche, does he?
That's true. Tell you who else was celebrating? Jack Harrison. When Bamford had the ball, he went round the keeper.
Yeah,
Harrison knew. He knew, didn't he?
Yeah,
he knew.
He put his hands up straight away, didn't he? He just knew straight away it was going in.
That was Harrison's best contribution today.
Yeah.
His pillow feet left him today. He's normally got such an unbelievable touch, and he still did it a couple of times, but thought he was poor on the ball today, gave it away.
He reminded me of his first season, actually.
Yeah. No end product like that. That time you were saying he took a touch to cross it, and it should have just been a first-time dink, and he didn't even get it past first man, and it was frustrating when it did remind you of that first season.
I didn't mind that touch. I didn't mind him taking a touch. That's fine, because the problem, if there was a problem with him taking a touch, then the defender would have closed him down and wouldn't have been able to get his cross away. But the thing is, the trouble is that it's either hitting the first man or it's going way over the back post and all the way to the touchline. I don't understand how you can play football for that long and not be able to have that deftness of touch. That means that you're either not. It's a confidence thing, isn't it? So you're either trying too hard and you're getting all tense and you're trying to put too much on it and you're leaning back and it goes all way too high and too far, or you're trying not to do that and you're going inside of yourself and you're a bit cautious, and that's when it doesn't go far enough. So I think maybe he just needs to relax. So I just don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think sometimes Harrison tries to overplay it because he's probably his biggest critic of his play sometimes, and he tries to improve all the time, and that's why he overplays sometimes. But also, I think that the fact that you can see that the opposition team mark Harrison out straight away, because you can see it straight away from our centre backs to Phillips in midfield. We spread it straight away to Harrison because he's got the actual first touch and then run on the ball. And I think he's trying to understand how the Premier League players are going to be understanding how he plays as well. So it's another big step up for him as well. Again,
yeah. I mean, Bielsa clearly rates Harrison because I think he switched the wingers not because it was something to benefit the game. I think he did it to benefit Harrison because he was struggling so much, and I think he had faith that he could maybe do it on the other wing. But I just think he had an off day. I mean, we could spend all day today, couldn't we, talking about some of the not so great performances. I do still think there were three sort of main positives that I really think stood out. Meslier, who I thought was outstanding, barring a couple of dodgy passes in first half. Mm-hmm. Bamford still scoring goals, and Llorente is actually not a ghost. He exists and played some football. So I think those three are the positives I take away from today, and I don't think many teams will do to us what Chelsea have done today with an £500 million squad at the very least.
They were very good, weren't they? They looked like very talented footballers. They also look very fit and strong.
Yeah, they look like a top three team. They didn't look like a team that might push for fourth. They looked like a team that are closer to challenging for the title than hoping to cling on to Champions League football.
They did, yeah.
Can I just say something? I disagree. I don't think they look that good. I do not think they look that good. The amount of money they've spent as a football club.
Well, you're wrong, Barney.
honestly,
I thought they beat us without getting out of second gear. They didn't really get out of second gear. Like second half, they were able to just use their, raw talent and just play it around and not worry too much. And They've got some good youngsters. I thought Reece James looked class. And the only one I would say that they've spent a lot of money on that I don't really understand what he contributes is that Kai Havertz. I don't get him. Don't get what he is. I thought they were very good.
I think there's a tendency, like on first watch, to think that a team didn't get out of second gear. I heard that a few times, not just from you guys in the group, but also on Twitter. And I think that's because they had 38% possession in that second half. I disagree with that. I don't think that it's about getting out of second gear. I think it's a tactic. And that's why I mentioned that kind of medium low block.
Yeah.
So that you're not gegenpressing the whole time, So that's when you think about psychologically when you're watching a team and the energy that's going into it. That pressing all over the pitch and that movement, that makes you think, okay, they're in top gear, and if they're sitting back like Burnley do or like Chelsea did today, then you're thinking, okay, they're in second gear or whatever. I think it's a tactic, and I think it worked very, very well. Instead, all of the teams that we find difficult are the teams that are difficult to break down. And that's because it's always difficult to break teams down when they play in a low block. But Chelsea played in this medium block, and what they did was they stopped the transition from defense to attack, and then they countered there. And honestly, they had 15 shots in that second half. I mean, 6 on target, and if it wasn't for Meslier, and if it wasn't for a little bit of bad finishing from them, wow. I mean, they created 12 chances, 12 pretty good chances, 4 big chances.
Yeah. Do you think, Donny, that other teams will look at what Chelsea have done today and try and mirror that against us, seeing how successful it was in moving forwards? Or do you think that, because my view is a lot of it, and I talked about this in the group as well, it felt like until maybe the last 15 minutes, Cooper didn't do a lot of progressing the ball forwards. He looked to pass it to Llorente like he often does to Koch. And I think Llorente, in his defence, has barely trained, let alone played. And I think just isn't really with the team flow yet to have that outward ball really well. And he was obviously getting pantomime noises from the crowd, which might have put him off a bit. But it felt to me like that's a good tactic against us, stopping that transition. But is it because we were missing the centre half who usually progresses it? I don't know.
Well, I'd do that. If I was an opposition manager, I'd use those tactics. You don't change your winning formula, do you? So, I mean, I would have used those tactics against the Bielsa side already. I mean, it's the obvious thing to do, in my opinion.
How do you think we overcome that?
You overcome it by having more energy and getting players back. You have more energy, so your movement off the ball, making runs for the passers. You get people back by, okay, now Rodrigo comes. Okay, there wasn't an option. Now Click comes back. Now Phillips comes back. So everybody's constantly moving back to help Llorente and Cooper find options to move it up the pitch. There was one time where Rodrigo came back and had a little interchange with Ayling, and that little interchange got us past their block, and then we were on our way and we were at the pitch. So it was a little bit lethargic, I think, from the midfield. I'm not convinced of Gianni's of Gianni's ability to play in there, and I thought his tenacity and his energy and his work rate off the ball was really important to us, and I think that's why Bielsa brought Harrison off to start off with. But I think if we'd have had somebody like Rodrigo de Paul, to bring off the bench, he's played his regulation 5 under 23 games and he's on the bench and we can bring him on. I think that would have made a huge difference to us today.
Do you have tissues for Rodrigo de Paul like Barney does for Calvin?
He's a sexy man.
He is absolutely very gorgeous as well. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not getting involved in this.
No, just to your point, Donny, about the way Cooper and Llorente was looking for that pass. It was true because there was a couple of times when Cooper had the ball and he was just waiting for that player and he just had to pass it back to Llorente straight away because then you could see him off the ball, like really frustrated that there was no movement. But I think it sort of changed when Rodrigo came on. He's a different class to every single player we've got in our squad.
It should be starting without any question for me, 100%.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, the debate is if Rodrigo starts, who doesn't start?
Well, it's got to be one of Alioski or Dallas because you had Alioski playing at left back today. I thought he was pretty poor, and I think the biggest question for me is, well, the thing for me today was that today was a great advertisement for why you need a left back playing left back. And I know that we mix it up, but neither Dallas or Alioski played well in that position today because they were against pacey world-class players who can do that if you're not a proper left back. So it's not against them. They're not proper left backs.
Yeah. So there were just too many attackers on the pitch. And that's all we had on the bench, really. So we had Strauch and Llorente. And obviously, Koch had to go off early.
That didn't look good either, did he, when he came off?
I mean, should he have started?
Look, Bielsa said in his press conference, sometimes you've got to have a certain player, you've got to be in the squad that you shouldn't have in the squad. And everyone's thinking, including myself, that Llorente was going to be in the squad. But maybe that was actually Koch was going to be starting, but maybe he shouldn't be starting.
He must have wanted to play himself. He must have felt okay. Otherwise, I don't think he would have risked it. So I think, if he's maybe only been 90% and then it's just not felt right. I mean, no, it's not really come out what sort of injury he's had, has it? So looks like they were saying he had ice on his knee afterwards, but it kind of looked like he was holding his hamstring when he was struggling. So we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, we have got a 20 million centre half that plays the exact same position. So hopefully Llorente can replace him.
I think it also answers the argument about that Llorente is a competition for Koch, not for Cooper, because Llorente is a right-footed centre half, and the way he was playing was exactly how Koch would play in that role as well, going forward with the ball, and Cooper just sits back all the time. Yeah. I thought Llorente was absolutely class, considering it's his first start after how many times?
It needs context, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Context of having really not trained much. So I agree with you. He was in, when I tweeted afterwards, I was like, one of my positives was Llorente starting. I don't think he was fantastic. Thought he gave the ball away a couple of times. Couldn't understand why the Chelsea fans were giving him so much grief. Thought the yellow card was nonsense. But I thought he looked steady. I just think he doesn't know how the team plays well enough yet to interlink properly, which is in his defence. He hasn't been involved enough. The left back conversation, by the way. Do you think there's a reason Leif Davis isn't getting a look in? He's a proper left back. He's got pace. He's been around the first team squad. He was dropped from the bench today for Llorente. I don't understand why he's not getting a look in because he's fast as all.
Is it because of the fact that when Bielsa picks his squad for the first team, is the fact that those players need to be playing in two positions? So for the fact that Llorente could probably play in a defensive role and also in a midfield role, same with Koch. Dallas can interchange he could probably play in goal in some games as well. So I think it's about the actual mobility. Sorry, that's a bit pissed at the moment. Yeah, I've had a few beers, but I think it's about the mobility, about the players on the bench as well. Because Bielsa always says about a player, he chooses that so they can play in two different positions. So he's got a few options off the bench that can interchange.
So even though it was a particularly poor performance, let's say, with quite a few sloppy passes, obviously not the right movement, and we still had a chance to get back into the game. And Pervader, he needs to go down, doesn't he? He needs to go down.
This is the problem, though, isn't it? He shouldn't need to go down, especially when you've got VAR now. What's the difference between that and what happened with Danny Welbeck? Where that was a penalty. The only difference is that Welbeck goes down and players get grief all the time for going down. Clearly, Poveda didn't feel like it was enough contact for him to fall over, but it very clearly was a foul. It tripped him, and he had to obviously, if luckily, kept hold of the ball because he's got good balance and got a shot off. But it's definitely a penalty, and I can't understand for the life of me why VAR doesn't take a look at that and go, okay, the advantage was played, but actually nothing's come of it. That is a penalty. I don't think we would have deserved it, but I would have enjoyed it to steal a 2-2, because then I don't think they get the third goal.
Yeah, we definitely didn't deserve it. I thought it was more than deserved. I actually thought it should have been more, probably. There was one where Werner, I think it was, cleared it off our line for us.
Yeah, he was superb in defence for us, was Werner.
Which was nice.
Yeah.
I did think that it was very clear from how Chelsea play that they are dangerous on the right-hand side. And I don't know, I would have expected us to somehow address that.
Yeah, I mean, like all I've talked about already, neither of the guys who played left back, Alioski or Dallas, did a good job of covering that right-hand side. I think you were taking your left wing, your winger out of the game. If they were having to get back and help them so much, which again probably caused struggles for us to then get forwards afterwards. I don't understand for the life of me why Dallas don't take a yellow card to bring Werner down to stop the third goal.
Oh my God!
It's just that's the perfect place to take a yellow. You're never getting sent off because there's covering men. You're too late in the game to worry about getting a red card later on, and you just save us the goal. That's the, and I don't get me wrong, guys. I do not think we'll be in a relegation battle. I think we will finish somewhere in and around where we are now, anywhere between 10th and 14th. We could be, I think. But the goal difference makes a huge difference, doesn't it, in terms of where you finish? And we're currently after that, we're now on -4. There's only, I think it's like 8 teams at the bottom who are on minus goal difference. I don't like being one of them.
You give away the free kick, you get the yellow card. It's still 2-1.
Yeah, and we might nick a goal. Yeah, 100%.
You never know.
For me, dare I say, I nearly tweeted about it as well that before Chelsea scored. The first half was very much like the first season on Bielsa against Derby away. We just knew straight away how Chelsea was going to play under a Frank Lampard team. And then the second half was very much like how Derby beat us in the playoff semi-final. He just knew which sort of goal that would... I mean, Werner's goal, the third goal, was very much like Mount's goal when he scored against us in the playoffs. When it was like it hit us on the break, through the middle, straight away.
Yeah, I ain't going to take, though, that Lampard's out-tactic Bielsa, though. I think, and I don't think that's what you're saying. I think that he's outspent us. And if Bielsa had the quality of player, that Lampard has right now, they'd be winning the league. He might not be able to get those types of players who are a bit more divish to do what he gets players to do. And I think that's why he probably doesn't manage at that level. But do I think Lampard's getting the best? I mean, they played very well. I thought they looked organised. But do I think that Lampard's getting the best out of those players when you look at who's there and how much money they've spent? No, I don't. I mean, they should. No. They should be competing for the title with how much money they've spent, no doubt.
Prime example was last Sunday against Spurs, where both teams had a chance to go actually clear, going top, and both teams were just sat there defending all the time. And Chelsea didn't. They were just passing sideways all the time. They didn't turn up against Spurs, considering how they turned up against us.
They didn't turn up against Scum either. They played out a goalless draw. I actually don't know where that performance has come from Chelsea, to be honest.
Well, when
I look at their squad,
play that way though, don't we?
When I look at their squad, they've got probably the best squad in the world. I mean, not even Brazil has a squad like that, I don't know.
I think that might be a bit of a push. I think Bayern Munich might argue with you, or a couple of other squads. I think Man City, their squad, and Liverpool still look... I mean, when you consider how many injuries Liverpool have got, they're still looking all right. But yeah, I get what you mean, though. There's a lot of good players. I think the biggest thing with Chelsea is when you look at who they've got a lot of players with potential to go on even further than where they are now. You know, when you look at Werner and you look at Havertz and you look at Pulisic and all those kind of guys, they're all players who they're not even really in the peak yet, are they? And if they had an actual world-class coach and not some overpaid bell end in Frank, I think that those guys would go on to be players who might want to move to Real Madrid. You know, like Hazard, but I do not think they'll get there under Frank. I also don't think Frank will be there in a couple of years, but we'll see.
Okay, and I should just address it. There were a number of people in the crowd not wearing masks. If you're not wearing a mask, you're a fucking idiot because you don't listen to scientists. So you need to listen to the people who are experts. We think that Frank Lampard doesn't know anything about football, right? Compared to Bielsa. I can guarantee that you, whoever you are, whether you're a postman or whatever you're doing, you don't know as much about science as the people who've gone to university and got a degree and work in the field for years.
Fucking mate, most of the people doing this have got PhDs, let alone fucking degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've watched something on YouTube and it says it's different to that.
I can't believe you're denying that 5G is the cause, Donny.
Put on 5G. A fucking mask.
Have you seen them? Have you seen the map? The 5G and the viruses in the certain areas is exactly the same. So it's all those.
The reason coronavirus is going, getting bad in Leeds is them new 5G masts they've put up at Ellen Road. They're not actually floodlights. They're new 5G masts to spread COVID in Leeds. That's what it is. They're
actually spying on everyone.
And here's another one while we're at it. If your skin is white, just shut the fuck up about racism. Because you have no fucking idea. You're not an expert. You haven't been exposed to the amount of fucking bullshit that black people have. So stop pretending that you're a fucking expert on racism as well.
Yeah, but surely all lives matters.
Shut up, Barney. And I've got a sister who's mixed race, and I don't even have a fucking clue how she feels about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't pretend to have a better knowledge of it because of that. So I just the Millwall thing today, they can get it fucking bin, the horrible racist cunts.
That stuff today, the people how they were defending it and stuff like that was just like take politics out of football. Well, it's not about politics, though, is it?
Oh yeah, it is, mate. BLM are fucking Marxists, don't you know?
Yeah, but the thing is, though, with Marxism, the modern day Marxism is about making people equal from all sides of society.
No, here's your problem, Barney. Get away from that, right? The problem is Millwall fans too fucking stupid to know what Marxism is anyway.
Exactly.
It don't fucking matter, does it? Pulling out all this, it's fucking Marxist. They're trying to make us all fucking, do this and do that. And it's fucking Stalin's coming back. Shut up, you divvy cunts. You ain't got a fucking clue what it even means. Get in the fucking sea.
You should say to him, saying, what do you think about Weber then? With his different Marxism theories.
You've definitely had a fucking drink, haven't you?
You've heard about Weber, haven't you? That's a different level from Marxism. He had a different theory on it. That's my GCSE sociology. I failed on it, by the way.
Some of these people wouldn't know what Marxism was if the Communist Manifesto smacked him on the head. It's just ridiculous. So, yeah. Basically, if you're not black, just shut the fuck up about racism.
Spot on.
So, yeah. I'm glad we at least got to smile a little bit because, yeah, I feel like we need to go a bit to the drawing board. I mean, I tried casting a spell to break the London curse. I feel like maybe I didn't wash Big Ben enough. On the other hand, it kind of felt like it was working at the start. You know, we got extremely lucky when they were attacking and should have scored. We score with our first attack. Phillips has the left foot. And Werner's clearing it off the line for us and then smashing it into the crossbar. So I felt like we did get quite lucky. I'm willing to give the idea that I have broken the London curse another go. What do you think?
Yeah. Did you just say you didn't wash Big Ben enough, or did I hear that? And is that a metaphor? Is that something else? Is that a euphemism?
See,
Is that going on the group chat?
you guys, you don't watch the podcast. You don't listen to the fucking podcast.
Oh,
I listen to some of it, but it depends on what I want to listen to when I go out for a fucking walk.
There's listeners going, what the fuck? He doesn't know about Big Ben. What are
You
these
think we've
guys?
got
These
listeners
guys
who
don't
listen-
even listen to their own podcast.
I can't even pretend. I mean, I have watched a bit of it. To be fair, I watched like the first 20 minutes with that
You need to
Reddit
cut
bloke from
this out.
Chelsea.
I'm not cutting it out. It's your own. You've laid your bed. You fucking get in it. Main cast number 9. It was after the Crystal Palace game. Main cast number 9. It's called "It Will End Here." I decided that we were cursed in London, and I googled how to break curses.
I remember. Yep.
To break curse. You know.
Yep. I remember listening to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it involves me.
No, you fucking don't.
No, I do.
Now that I mentioned it, it involved me cleaning a Big Ben statue in salt water whilst muttering incantations.
All right then. I must have just missed that bit, mate. But you know, main cast's so good. You know, I'm usually wanking, so perhaps I just jizzed at that point and missed the joke. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. Understandable. Yeah.
One question I like to ask there was: did fans make the difference to some referee decisions today?
Llorente's yellow card, I would say definitely.
The referee had a very bad game. Lots of little fouls didn't go our way, and especially a couple on Rafinha. I mean, there's one where it's a little bit soft, where Kante's hand has gone into his face.
Oh, do you mean where he full on, punched him in the face? That one I saw.
It was nearly bleeding. It was off his head, wasn't he?
Can't believe you're underplaying that, Donny.
Absolutely awful stuff, that.
If I hit you like that, it'd knock you out, mate.
It's inspiring that he got up and carried on, really.
I know, I agree.
Please, that, innit?
Reminiscent of Mick Jones with his dislocated shoulder.
That was literally like Charlton when he stood up against that Chelsea player and nearly headbutted him back.
So there were a lot of little decisions that when they don't go your way, it definitely has a psychological impact. You think, oh no, the ref's against us. And he probably was the schneid, balding twat.
There was a few times when we were taking a long time for taking a throw in, and all of a sudden the Chelsea fans behind were like, come on, ref. And there was actually one time the actual ref went to the Leeds player, I think it was Ailing, saying, right, you're taking a mickey now. That's the last time I'm going to do that.
Yeah, well, we all knew this was going to happen. Bielsa got it spot on like he usually does in terms of his analysis of football, which is if no team should be allowed home fans while some teams aren't, because it will, whether it's 2,000, 200, 20,000 or full stadiums, it's going to give you an advantage because you could hear from, I don't know whether you guys were watching it or which Sky Sports channel you watched it on if you did, but you could get it where obviously you heard the actual legit crowd noise, and 2,000 fans can make a lot of noise, guys. You know, I've been to Farsley Celtic and listened to 200 fans make plenty of noise, let alone 2,000.
Bing! That's Farsley Celtic, Claxon.
Farsley! Farsley's S, that's why. But do you know what I mean? Like 2,000 people, it makes a difference. It genuinely does. So
I generally don't like making excuses for myself or my team.
We were still outplayed.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I like to take responsibility. I don't think it made such a big difference that we got outplayed the way we did. Definitely not.
No, I don't.
I do think it makes a difference, though. I 100% believe it makes a difference. I know it does because I've played football with crowds, and so I know it makes a difference. When it's
5 people down at goals in Kirkstall, Donny. Come
on. From the balcony. They put me off. It was them. No. Amateur football, but big enough crowds to make a difference, 100, 200, 50, 100, 200. It makes a difference. And when it goes quiet, and when they're jeering you or they're groaning, especially, can never happen to me, of course.
No, of course.
But it does get to you. It does get to you. So it definitely does make a difference. And it goes against the ethics of sport, doesn't it? Yeah. About fair play.
Yeah. Can we seriously address what those noises were, though, today? Like, what the fuck was that noise they were making at Llorente? Like, it was literally like pantomime booing.
I think it's their mating call. It's
the mating call of the Cockney inbred.
Yeah, exactly. The inbred Cockney mating call. You got to be careful when they make that noise because it means that they've got at least a semi on, and they're ready to jump at you.
Fucking hell. They're in heat.
Yeah, exactly. They're in heat. They were a little bit hot. They were a little bit tasty for Diego there. I don't think it put him off too much. I don't know why they did it. I don't really know what it is. They're weird down south, aren't they? They're weird.
Has anyone seen what's been said after the game by Bielsa at all?
Nope, but we can have a look.
So Bielsa said it was a fair result. We failed to recover the ball in the first phase. It was a game difficult to defend due to the quality of their forwards. Admitted the inability to cope with set pieces was an important aspect in the defeat. That was actually Chelsea's 7th goal from a corner this season, which is more than twice the next nearest, of which we are one of, I think, about 4 or 5 teams who are on 3. So they are clearly very good at set pieces, and we've known for a long time that we are pretty fucking shoddy at them.
It's not just free kicks or corners; it's also throw-ins. Liverpool have a specific throw-in coach, and I was reading some analysis about throw-ins. And the quicker you take a throw-in, the more likely you are to retain possession. And so many times, watching us, we won't take that quick throw-in. We'll wait for our designated throw-in taker to come over and take it. I just think, just fucking get on with it.
It's just a throw-in. It's not hard, is it? Unless you're doing fucking old school Stoke long throws.
Yeah. Exactly.
Was it Rory Delap who did that? I'm sure it was.
There was one fella who did a fucking cartwheel before he let it go. I wouldn't mind bringing that back. Bring a bit of that shit back from the... There was some good shit that happened in the 90s.
Get Rafinha doing some Brazilian-esque fucking throw-in style shit.
Now
sure,
he could do some creative. Cookie.
Yeah, he could do some creative shit.
This is the analysis we didn't want. But this is the analysis we need. Barney? Can you not boost heroin while live on the podcast, mate?
No, I think you're right about the throw-ins, but I think it's all about the process, isn't it? It's about the movement of players. And the fact that if certain players aren't going to move at the same time, that's when it's always Ayling that takes the throw in, though, isn't it? Half the time.
Most of the time, yeah. But I think what you're getting there is, I think Bielsa feels. I imagine, I don't know, because I'm not his pal. Obviously, I wish I were. Throw him a text message and ask him. But I think he probably feels about throw-ins the way he does about corners, which is that they're not a beautiful part of the game. They're not a really, brilliant interplay and triangles and creating really good attacks. They can be used in that way, but I just think that Bielsa looks at corners and throw-ins as just a bit of the ball's not in play. This is shit. Let's see what happens. So I don't think he focuses on it.
Did you ever play headers and volleys?
Yeah, fucking course I did.
Yeah,
Heads and volleys, loved it.
I'm guessing that's not part of the training structure.
Well,
Thorpe Arch.
Actually, remember that video that Sky did about Bielsa and the secret behind him and stuff. And there was one video where there was a couple of Argentinian players doing like headers over the net, and it wasn't about just heading the ball. It was the actual skill of heading the ball and what difference it would make. So it's not just about throwing the ball to another player.
What did I learn the most from headers and volleys? Can you have a guess?
How to head it and how to volley it?
No. Guess again.
Movement? I don't know. Get it out. Get it out. No, don't get it out.
Crossing.
Yeah, crossing.
Crossing. And being able to pick a head. Being able to cross it in to a specific point in space. And I feel like, I'm not even sure I remember the last time okay, yeah, I do. Villa. Jackie Harrison. He swung it in between the two centre-backs for Bamford to ping it in off his nose.
No, it was Sheffield United, wasn't it?
Sheffield United.
Yeah. That was the one I was going to say.
One of those southern teams.
One of those that's on a point somewhere.
They're down south and they're shit. That's all I know. So that doesn't happen enough. It doesn't happen enough. We should be moaning about how many headers are going over the bar and going wide, but we can't. We've been robbed of that because the crosses aren't coming in.
He's never going to care about corners and stuff, though, mate. Did you notice that Phillips has been taken off of corners as well, and that it was Click today?
Yeah. That happened. I think a couple of games ago.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. Seems odd, but
to me, it was because Click did one corner, and he found Cooper, and Cooper obviously headed it onto Rosette. But that was like the first corner that, oh fuck, it's gone into that. It's dipped into that kind of 6-yard area or just surrounding that, and we've found somebody's head.
To be fair, you reminded me of one piece of quality today. Click corner, played out to edge of box that Rafinha volleyed. It got blocked.
God,
came back to him and then he put it over. But that was one hell of a pinpoint corner. And it was a good connection from Rafinha, so it was a very good block by a Chelsea defender. But yeah, so maybe that's why he's on corners.
Right, I've got an idea about murder ball. I'm gonna go to Costa Weatherby and tell Bielsa about it. So, do you remember Wallie as a kid?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I remember what
I remember
Wallie, yeah. So basically, if you miss a corner, you're in net. And if you lose, you're going to get the ball hitting your ass. There you go.
There was always an element of that, wasn't there? There was always an element of, if you fuck up, you're going in goal. And just shut the fuck up and get in goal. You know?
So with heads and volleys and Wallie, have you guys considered sending your CVs into Bielsa and see if you can get a role on his fucking coaching team?
What is that called? What is it? What do you call it when you have to stand in the goal? And
Wallie. I used to call it Wallie as a kid.
Is that what you called it?
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be like this one of the things of Ginner or a fucking Vap or something, isn't it now?
I thought you were going to start talking about fucking Kirby or something next. So we're going to throw that in training too.
Kirby. This is it. We've got it.
That'll be accurate throw-ins. Kirby, accurate throw-ins, mate. Fucking come on.
What have you got a fucking pen? We've got
a new coaching plan for Bielsa. He don't fucking know anything really, does he?
No. Mr. Bielsa. Mr. Bielsa, let me just inform you about the beautiful game.
Please write him a Christmas card with these ideas in.
You meet him one day and you're like, hello, sir. I mean, I love you, but just Wallie and Kirby.
Heads and V's, come on.
I think it's the missing ingredient. If I could just have a moment of your time, we could have a coffee and we could just talk about Kirby. And
Oh, I can just picture him going into training with them ideas, having listened to the players just going, "You've lost your mind, you daft cunt."
Bueno, so now we will go to the street and we play a game called Kirby. Very traditional around these parts.
Yeah, only Bielsa's doing it with a fucking hand grenade.
Yeah. And right afterwards, bueno, jumpers for goalposts.
Fucking hell.
So right after berating people for not wearing masks and not listening to scientists, we've then waltzed into lecturing Bielsa on Kirby and Wally. That's the missing ingredient. Fucking hell, okay. It's
I think
done,
we all
isn't
know
it?
he knows more than us.
It's time to wrap this podcast up before we I don't know.
Or we genuinely lose our minds.
Before we and genuinely get like death threats like can you not tell Bielsa about Kirby and this stuff like
I've got a box of Carlin in the fridge, so I'm going to rant on straight away after this on Twitter.
Get it done, Barney, please. Make it look really fucking serious. Want to see how many bites you can get. Fucking hell.
oh dear. Okay, so final thoughts. It's not that bad, is it? They're a really expensive team. Cookie? Barney? Anybody?
It doesn't. Listen, it's a defeat we all expected, I think, and I think 4 points from 9 from the last 3 games we would have all taken. We could have had 6 because I think we should have beaten Arsenal. So I think there's lots of positives. I think is it West Ham up next? So I think it's just key that we go into that with a bit more positivity. Hopefully, get back to our football, and hopefully they don't put a mid fucking block in place and listen to Donny's master tactician. But yeah, I think we'll be all right. We're still comfortable. Look at the squad we've got. The expense of it. We'll be mid-table somewhere. And my only other final thought is that Barney's a dirty fucking Marxist.
If you only knew. No, so basically my final thoughts is that we didn't look that bad. It was all about fine margins again. They had a few chances to score. We had a few chances to score. We actually made them really orderly in the first half. The second half was okay.
Yeah, and Dallas needed some Norman Hunter fucking Timo Werner.
To be honest, Barney, I pretty much disagree with your analysis there. But as his final thoughts, maybe we'll just let it slide.
Isn't that why it's the beautiful game? So many different opinions.
Let's just have Wally. Just Wally and Kirby, that's it.
Is there a Kirby World Championships? Maybe we can...
We've
gone as far as we can with Leeds United Football Club. Maybe we've gone as far as we can in football. Maybe we should just start supporting Leeds United Kirby Club.
Or start one. But yeah, Donny, I think Barney's trying to say something to you, though, which is, will you please shut the fuck up so he can drink his Carlin?
And on that note, so if you liked more of that depressing, bizarre, weird chat, subscribe to us on your podcast player. Follow us on Twitter. We're at Peacock's Raw. My name's Adonis. You know me as at the Adelites on Twitter. It's a very goodbye from me. And it's a very goodbye from Stuart Barnett. You know him as at Barney___21.
Bye-bye.
And it's a very goodbye from Cookie. You know him as at Mickled Onions on Twitter.
Goodbye. All elves, aren't we?
Out of context marketing. Get it in there. Yeah, there's still time to donate to All Elves Aren't We, and if you want to check that out, if you don't know about it, at All Elves Aren't We. But I'm sure that if you're listening to this, you're just one of those hangers-on who already has listened to our podcast, because literally no Leeds United fan is going to tune in to a review of a 3-1 away defeat to Chelsea. That was your match review. We'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you and goodbye. Most of our stats come from LUFC Stats or LUFC Data on Twitter. You should probably give them a follow, as they're more interesting than us. A very special thanks to Adam Elliot, Adam Warner, Barney Stuart, Cookie, Ewan and Howard Metcalf, Josh Pearson, Laura, Leon and Rob, The Light Show, and all our family and friends. So many games.